Okay, I guess we could get started. Um, so yeah, our top priority right now is releasing this GUI wallet, which we expect to release in 2 weeks. We've been working on it to make it super easy to just open and sync very quickly, that you don't need to have a separate, like you don't need to have a Bitcoin node and a Spaces node synced like uh, like you do now. So it should be really easy. Just download it and it syncs pretty quickly and then you're ready to go. So we expect to have that in 2 weeks and hopefully that will make things a little bit easier to bid in the auctions. And then after that, our main priority is building out um, subspaces and making that a standard for that. So we expect that will could take a couple months after that. So those are our main priorities. Also, we're working on this, working on a relay. And Buffer, would you like to just explain what that relay would do?
Yeah, so this relay will essentially be like a regular Nostr relay that you could also query space records through it. So it will act as a caching layer for Fabric, and uh, so that Nostr apps could essentially query spaces or even wallet addresses through that relay. And also wallets could query to resolve like lightning addresses or silent payments or use cases like that.
Okay. So yeah, we're working on that now. Hopefully have that released soon. And then, yeah, I think the only other update really is Andrew is doing a talk at Atlanta Bit Devs tonight about Spaces Protocol, so that's cool. And yeah, I guess I'll just open it up to questions, or if anybody wants to talk about anything, then I think raise your hand and we could allow you to speak.
Yo.
How's it going?
Hey. All right. So this GUI wallet, is it going to work on both the Explorer with the auctions and also the Spaces.market?
Yeah, it's
Yes,
Buffer. Do you want?
yeah, you could buy stuff through the GUI wallet, and you could bid on auctions and watch the state of a name that is going through auctions through the GUI wallet.
Okay. Is it going to be like a MetaMask wallet where you download it, you generate the Bitcoin private keys?
Yeah, it's similar, but it's not like with MetaMask, you're essentially trusting a centralized provider, and this is more like a typical Bitcoin wallet. So it's trustless. It verifies blocks. It just syncs faster than a Bitcoin full node, and you'll be able to use it to bid on spaces and sign things with your space to publish on Fabric and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds really good. And yeah, I just want to say, what's up, Andrew? Appreciate you speaking at this Atlanta Bit Lab. Hope you have a lot of fun there, man.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Awesome. So, yep, it's Andrew. Sorry, I'm a primary user here. Appreciate the vote of confidence. I'm like 90% sure we're going to have it recorded. So when I'll relate the recording when you get a chance. Spoke with Mike a little earlier, so got a little bit more kind of familiar with the background and stuff. So we can talk to that a little bit more. And Buffer had a question about the relay piece. Is it are you gonna have like an API to interface with it for the resolution?
Yeah, so the relay would be probably the easiest way to query Fabric, because it will also have a caching layer, so you don't need to go
Yes.
through discovering every time. Yeah, but the querying part is pretty similar to querying a typical Nostr event.
Right. No, that'll be good. Did you say, is that available now, or is it something that you haven't published yet to GitHub?
It's not yet. Currently, the only way to do that is to use Fabric directly, but we will be publishing the relay stuff soon.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know if you had a chance. The couple components that I was working with yesterday, I pushed those repos to you. Well, they're available if anyone else is interested as well. I'm dabbling with a browser plugin and also a search engine sort of in proxy,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
pretty cool. Did you share the thing you did with the search engine on GitHub?
I did. I didn't tell anyone on the main list. I just sent you the GitHub links, but I did briefly demonstrate it to Mike earlier today when we were chatting, and it's rough, but it does work. You just have to take on a little more configuration than I think a normal person would probably be up for. But that doesn't mean that those that are incentivized to give it a kick around, might not. Right now, I'm just mocking up the resolution. So basically, I've got some hard-coded names and IP addresses that I'm returning, but it's the framework for what would need to be done is there. So if anyone else on the call is interested, or if you're curious, just let me know.
Yeah, it was cool. I saw the first spaces name resolve in a browser. I think it's a historic moment, so pretty cool.
So that was double entendre. Curious.
What does it show? It resolves to what? Just a web page?
Yeah. So it revolves effectively to an A record, which is just an IP address. So, but once it does a web forward behind the scenes, so it effectively relocates you to a website that's just an IP address, which is not what most people are accustomed to seeing. But when you think about it, this is how you get away from relying on DNS, right? We're in no way we're not touching DNS at all, and that's I think is important to kind of understand as well. This is part of having your own sovereignty and having a website that some authority can't muck with you about it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's awesome. That definitely is historic.
Well, like I said, it's just kind of the stub right now, but I did also, there's another project that does something similar, but just with public keys. And they had a DNS server that was set up to resolve those public keys. And it's a natural fit for what we're doing here. And I've taken that code and I added some spaces resolving sort of, again, mock-up logic just so that it would handle a spaces type request and return a DNS result properly. And that works as well. The problem is I got it to work with NS lookup command line tool. So you say NS lookup and then like @ spaces, and then it would work. it would return the record. And then I tried to use it with curl. I couldn't get it to work. I tried different browsers. I couldn't get it to work. I did finally try Lynx browser. If you're familiar, Lynx is like a command, like a text terminal browser from back in the old Unix days. And that actually worked. It actually brought up and rendered the page in text. It's a very simple website, but it was like, wow, well, that works. So at least I know the mechanism works, right? But that kind of got me wondering, well, why are these browsers having such trouble with it? And it turns out that the API that handles the host name and the URL, they're looking for a real host name, right? They're looking for something that has, something dot something at the very minimum. And since Spaces doesn't follow that nomenclature, it says, oh, he must be asking to search for something. So I did the little extension test yesterday and kind of didn't get very far with it because of that reason. And then I said, well, it keeps throwing it to the search engine. Maybe I should try to hook into the search engine mechanism. And that did seem to work. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But again, it'd be ideal if it just like worked in DNS, but the problem is going to be like all the clients that rely on DNS resolution or have that built in, they're not expecting a host name with an @ sign in it. And that seems to be kind of the hitching point. Now, I threw this out to the list, I don't know, maybe a month ago, maybe a convention of using .spaces top level domain might be analogous, because I did some digging and that top level domain is not in existence. So there's nobody using that right now, and we could kind of hijack it for our own purposes as a workaround. But I'd be willing to open up the discussion to see if anybody had thoughts around that. It's not ideal. And then you start having a mixed message about, how do you refer to these things? But it's something to think about, and it makes the browser integration much easier.
Yeah, another thing to try is there is an API for registering a custom schemes. So maybe we could define a space scheme that would handle the @ sign in the correct way.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I think that's worth pursuing as well. I just haven't had any chance to look at that.
Yeah, but I suppose it's gonna be tricky, like with resolving them and verifying them with regular browsers. But what you're doing is awesome. Like to explore ways to do that, and maybe like yeah, I was thinking like the custom protocol scheme would be a nice way to perhaps have a way to essentially connect to a space and then establish like a noise peer-to-peer connection that way. And this is what you could currently do with Fabric if you tried the beam connect command.
Oh.
So so the custom scheme could essentially, if we define a scheme that's called instead of like HTTP or HTTPS, you could say space / at Bitcoin or Bob at Bitcoin, and it would essentially resolve the record through a Fabric relay and then establish a noise connection and essentially show you the website or whatever use case. I think that should be pretty doable. So I guess we could experiment in that direction as well.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that angle. Used to be back in the browser days when, they were trying to create all these media schemes to kind of help figure out how to handle things like movies and stuff in the page. Now most browsers handle this stuff pretty implicitly. The language kind of, the HTML spec kind of grew to incorporate those things. But that took time, right? And another thing I mentioned to Mike earlier was maybe it makes sense to like write a custom browser, because if you write your own browser, then you can pretty much do whatever you want, right? And while that's not ideal, it would, maybe we can fork an existing browser and make modifications to allow for the fabric resolution. At least we would be able to point to say, hey, if you want to try this out, then download this browser and, give it a kick. Would be a lot easier than, go into your settings, create a new search engine listing, call it this, go run this Node.js program locally, download Node.js, run this Node, make sure that it never, goes to sleep, blah, blah, blah. So it's, I think we have to start thinking about what the end user experience is and how to make it as simple and easier for people to try as possible. Because I think that leads to the next wave of interest and bidding and usage, and then hopefully we can kind of spread it out a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think, maybe my opinion is different, but I kind of think the browser days are essentially over. I mean, most people use apps, and just to stay on a couple of apps, they don't even have a laptop. Most of them just go like use a phone or a tablet. So to me, it makes a lot of sense to build an ecosystem for Bitcoin, like around Nostr wallets and yeah, I mean, the cool thing about Nostr is that it's not just like a social media app. I mean, it's like an open protocol. You could do a lot of things with it. You could browse content in a lot of different ways. And browsers have been very restrictive and hostile towards decentralized naming and peer-to-peer protocols. So maybe that's maybe that's a way to like break from that and try to like build our own Bitcoin ecosystem.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of opportunity for other types of application on top of Bitcoin other than the monetary usage. And I think Spaces represents an ideal sort of example of what a non-monetary application can look like.
That's so cool. You got it to work on Link's browser. If you tweet that, I would love to read.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's really cool.
I'll see if I can pull that a little animation together or something.
Yeah, a screenshot or something. Yeah, that's cool.
So anyway, one of the motivations for putting some time into this is that I want to create a service where the publishing of the DNS records and the refreshing that's required by these DHT systems, I can set that up, right, so that I can help republish other people's signed zone files, which allows their names and their IP addresses and stuff to be available consistently over time. But there's no point in working on that if if there's no way to use it or very limited ways to use it. So that's kind of my motivation behind this effort.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, if you launch that service, I mean, I will use it because I've been like publishing the records manually and it would be
Oh,
nice.
for your examples?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You might be my first customer. How about that?
Yeah.
Also, Andrew, you mentioned when we talked earlier that Start9, Spaces is in the production release, or is that what you said?
So Start9 packages available in the there's kind of their main production, what they call marketplace, where you can get apps for download. But then there's also a community provided marketplace and a beta marketplace. I think it's in the beta marketplace right now, and I'd have to double check. But I've also gotten it published for Umbrel. So, and this is only the basically the command line and Spaces daemon part of it. I was trying to get the fabric stuff in there as well, but while Umbrel will support it currently, the Start 9 won't with its current version, but the next major release that they put out, it will support it. So I've been working with them to kind of work through the details. I do have it working in alpha test right now on my own test instances, but yeah, I've got. My goal is to make the packages as useful as possible, not only for, creating a wallet, managing your space and bidding activity, but also for, signing Nostr events. Obviously that's in the command line now, but also participating as a Fabric node just by running the service, and potentially also becoming a Bootstrap node is another possibility. But in addition to that, once I have all that working in the same kind of place, then the next thing is to have the resolution piece. Acting as a DNS resolver will allow you to point other machines to that and then get automatic, Spaces resolution if we can get these other issues kind of worked out. Or maybe this the custom Nostr proxy component probably fits in that as well. So at the end of the day, someone that has this type of device that's running a server at their home, they just one-click install and they would have all of that up and running with no real extra configuration required.
Awesome. All right. Does anybody else want to have anything to say or have any questions? Feel
Hey, I
free
just
raise
wanted
your
to
hand.
say,
Yeah.
Mike, how did you wind up on the Robin Sayers podcast? And do you have any plans on getting on some more podcasts? Because that's how I heard about it. And I think doing people's shows like that is a big thing to spread awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the way we got that is we hired a marketing firm to help with that, and I actually am planning to rehire them again because yeah, they did a great job with that, and I think it would really help. So
Nice. All right. That's great news. Yeah, it would help because, like I said, that's how I found it. And I'm sure a lot of people as well. And if you just can get out there and get on more podcasts and speak about it with you have a wealth of knowledge. You were running the registrars. You've been in Bitcoin for a while. So just letting people know the downfalls of the ICANN, the HTTPS, DNS, all the centralization, people sending large amounts of money like you were talking about. People can get in the middle of that. Because I don't think a lot of people really understand that naming is an urgent need. So you explain it really well. So if you can get on some more podcasts, I think that would be great.
okay, yeah, good idea. Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to them again to see if they could help again. Yeah, we were actually just talking when I was talking with Andrew earlier for this BitDevs presentation in Atlanta. Like, what are the reasons for this? Like, is it just something that's built looking for a solution, or is it for something? So yeah, I think that type of stuff, and we talked about it. And there's lots of reasons it is urgent. So I think it's like, this is what I told Andrew earlier. It's like, Bitcoin's not well, a lot of people with Bitcoin, they're like, why do I need Bitcoin? My banks work fine. And yeah, it works fine for some people, but for some people it does not work fine at all. And so it's the same with naming. Naming may work fine for most people, but for some people it does not work well at all. So yeah, I think the analogy with banks and registrars are like identical in a lot of ways. All right. I guess we'll wrap this up. Last chance for anybody to raise their hand and talk. Otherwise, yeah. Andrew, good luck with the presentation. I look forward to seeing it. And,
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm getting all psyched up for it. If anybody, like I said, if anyone else on the call here or in chat, is interested in kind of kicking around some of these things I've been fiddling with, yeah, please reach out to me on Telegram. I'm Phaedrus, Phaedrus. So that's me. And yeah, that one I've already doxed myself on, so no harm done. So, but yeah, thanks for all your work, and it's they feel like they're happening now. Feel like things are happening more. It's been a long kind of journey for you guys, and I'm just kind of hitching along for it.
no, you're doing a lot to help. So thanks, yeah, all of you guys. So, all right, I guess we'll wrap it up, and I'll schedule another one for the first Wednesday in May. And in the meantime, feel free to join the Telegram channel. And I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.
See you. Bye.
All right, take care.